Hey, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening to everyone, wherever you may be. Welcome to our DFS live session this morning. This is our first of several live sessions we'll be producing in the coming weeks. We'll have various topics, including security, data migrations, all kinds of things, AI. We'll hope you'll enjoy those future sessions. We'll also hope that you follow us on social media and look forward to attending other sessions from Zensar. My name is Joe Homrich, and I'll be your host for today. I'm very excited to be here, and I hope that you'll find this session exciting and informative as well. Now, here at Zensar, I work very closely with our cloud platform partners, such as Microsoft, AWS, Google, as we leverage their cloud platforms to enable our enterprise clients to digitally transform their businesses. Joining us today is our featured speaker, RP Nambala. Now, RP is Zensar's resident cloud guru, and he heads up our Solutions Design Center here in Zensar's Cloud and Infrastructure Services Group. For today's LinkedIn live session, we'll be talking about Zensar's Guide for Cloud Migrations. Now, every organization that RP and his team works with is seeking to accelerate their company's digital transformation journey. In fact, a few years ago, Zensar Technologies made the move to become a true digital entity, and we have now become a living AI organization. And before we deep dive into our cloud journey story, let's quickly talk about our digital experience. So question for you, RP, what do you think digital experience is all about? And how can Zensar help organizations build their own digital experience?
Thank you, Joe, for that great introduction and having me as your co-host for this live session today. Hello all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining today's session. Coming back to the topic, Joe, yes, what you stated about digital is true. Digital is everywhere, right? Post-COVID-19, this has become the topic of discussion in the boardrooms and the CXO leaderships across enterprises. Zensar was through such transformation a few years back, putting us ahead of the curve, and made us capable to lead the digital market. I don't want to define digital transformation, as most of our audience have heard this term many times now. Instead, I would say technologies such as cloud, mobile, big data, blockchain, AI and ML are creating a world of new opportunities for enterprises today. And especially cloud, right, is helping them with speed and scale, save dollars, obviously, create efficiencies, enhance quality of service, and launch new products into the market. Since you asked about digital experience, let me take an example of Amazon, right? Imagine you are on your mobile phone, looking to shop, a product, and you open the Amazon app, you like a product, want to purchase. What do you do today? You select and swipe buy now, right? And your order is placed. And you would also get to know what is the date it would be shipped. Now that is what I call as digital experience, right? So customers are now expecting Amazon-like experience when they're buying a part of a mutual fund, a fraction of a stock, file an insurance claim, or schedule a doctor's appointment. All these things that they do on a day-to-day basis. They're looking like, can I get an Amazon or an Uber kind of an experience? But I think this is tough, right? For enterprises to get enabled. I don't think the extent that their customers are expecting, as the complexity that is involved, right, in some of these legacy technologies is not letting them do this, right? So in the enterprise world, there's a need for redefining all the business models and customer journeys, leveraging the next-gen technologies, obviously. Digital experience is one of our pillars in digital foundation services. Under experience, we provide 3 sub-services. One is designing the experience, implementing experience, and monitoring and managing the digital touch points to deliver superior experience. Cloud obviously plays a major role in delivering the experience, because the hyperscale providers like AWS, GCP, Azure, and many others are exposing next-gen services to us through their products, right?
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree with you, RP. Digital success starts with a sound digital foundation, especially now in this COVID-19 economy. It's actually become a necessity. And speaking about this COVID-19 economy that we're experiencing. We recently conducted a poll before today's live session where we asked all of you the following question. That question was, what is the topmost driver for cloud migrations for your business? And it was no surprise to see that the vast majority of the responses listed mobility and work from anywhere or work from any time as the number one driver at 69%. And other responses you shared with us included, scalability as a reason at 15%, cost advantage at 9%. Well, you would think cost advantage would have been much higher in the past, and latency in existing systems at 8%. It kind of seems like the new normal work from home needs of this COVID-19 economy have made cloud migrations a top priority for many companies. So in addition to all of these options that are out there as drivers for cloud adoption, what are you hearing, RP, from your customers? What are their drivers? And how are you assisting these companies in adopting and consuming these cloud services?
Thank you, Joe. Yes, there are many reasons why enterprises have chosen to embark on the cloud journey. Without calling customer names, let me list some of the key drivers that we've been part of, right? There's this large bank that we were working with. They had their primary DC in their main office, which is in the downtown on one of the floors. They identified contract is coming to an end ahead of 18 months. They've identified that this is it. We're going to, get to the end of this contract. And they had an option to renew the contract or move to the cloud. And, we had multiple conversations with them as to what they have in their house. If they have to migrate, into cloud, what is that they will have to change? I think we had those discussions, and finally they've decided to move to cloud, right? And then we've helped them move their applications and the infrastructure onto the cloud. There's a large retailer that we worked had the e-commerce workloads in one of the hosting provider space. The contract with the hosting provider is coming to an end, so they wanted to move those workloads to cloud and embark the cloud journey. And that's another customer that we've helped doing that, right? There's a financial services customer that had a need for additional hardware to process the batch jobs during the month end, quarter end, and year end. And they did not have enough compute and storage in the DC, obviously. They had an option: either they buy for some of these events that are happening during those periods and get them in the data center and do everything by themselves, or they had to burst to cloud, right? So we had multiple discussions, and finally we thought, bursting to the cloud is the best option. You can save on your CapEx dollars, right? So now they burst to cloud, they run these jobs there, they print the reports, and then they come back, get the data back onto the premise, right? So there's a healthcare customer, they were mid-tier healthcare customer. They had no DR. If any of their critical apps fail, they had to wait until the primary DC comes back. We built a complete DR in the cloud for them. There's another customer that we did work with. There's a customer of ours that is into medical device manufacturing, and they were going through divestiture as they were splitting the company. The new CEO and the board, as the chief digital officer, to build the new infrastructure and host it on the cloud. We looked at options. What were the applications that they had to split and had to host? And they had enough time, right? So they had enough time to put them onto the cloud. So we did move them, migrate them, re-engineer some of their applications to host them onto the cloud. A healthcare customer that we had, most of their network equipment, compute and storage went end of life. They've been living with the fear of getting breached and being non-compliant with the regulators, right? Now, instead of buying new infra, they have decided to move to cloud. Obviously, we have helped them make the decision, and now they're all on cloud. So to summarize, right, if you look at some of these drivers, end of data center facilities is what we're looking at, contracts, right? End of hosting contracts, insufficient infrastructure to scale is another driver that we're looking at. Disaster recovery, yeah, changing business models, in this case, the entity that they were splitting, and end of life infrastructure. These are some of the key ones, but there are many others, right? Why we see the customers move to cloud. And post COVID-19, again, your survey, thanks to all the audience that have actually answered back to the survey. Post COVID, work from anywhere, access from anywhere, kind of an option has become one of the drivers, right? So when the pandemic hit, Zensar has extended its VDI solution framework to cloud, and it is called ZenCare now. And this solution addresses this requirement for all the remote work force that enterprises are trying to enable. We helped all the above customers and many more through their cloud migration journey. Zensar's digital infrastructure, which is part of digital foundation services, right, helps customers modernize and migrate the applications, data, and infrastructure to cloud. During my discussions with CXO leadership, I tell them think cloud with cloud, as it offers multiple benefits like scalability, flexibility, security, agility, and access to innovative technology. That's one of the key things. If you want to build some of those technologies in-house, it really takes time and effort. I think you can shorten the time to use some of those technologies because these hyperscale providers are exposing them for the users, right? But I also tell them that they will be successful only if they have the right strategy that is aligned with the business objectives. If not, they're bound to fail, right? So your business strategy has to, cloud strategy has to align with the business objectives. Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great points, RP. In fact, making sure that you're aligning your business objectives closely with your digital transformation strategy, it will ensure that you're delivering the right digital experiences that your company can be proud of. And how easy is it for a company to be proud of its cloud and its digital experiences that are delivered? Do customers face challenges while defining cloud strategy? Are there common mistakes which they make? And most importantly, how can Zensar help our customers avoid these mistakes? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, good. That's a tricky and a little lengthy, question, and also the answer could be lengthy. But I'll try to keep it simple, right? So some of the key common mistakes that enterprises make while building cloud strategy, Joe, is one is assuming it as an IT only strategy, which is a mistake. Obviously, it should be a business aligned cloud strategy. It cannot just be an IT strategy, right? Few customers have asked for a strategy and they said our cloud strategy was DC strategy. So we have it in place. And many a times I tell the customer saying that if your DC strategy is your cloud strategy, then you're bound to spend at least 4x to 5x more than what you're spending today. So that should not be a strategy. That's a mistake, that we, enterprises make, right? There was a retail customer that we were talking to a year back. They were equating the cloud strategy to moving everything to cloud at one go. I don't think you can do it at one go. It has to be an iterative process. You have to learn through, as you migrate new learnings. And I always say every enterprise is different, right? And the challenges that you have in enterprise is different. So, and many customers that I speak to don't have a proper exit strategy while they have a multi-cloud strategy. But, if they have to move their applications onto, a different cloud, automation across, moving those, workloads from one cloud to another cloud and automation around that is not in place. I think those are some of the key mistakes that I see. So Zensar, what we've done is we've come up with a wired autonomous cloud solution framework that helps create the cloud strategy cookbook. Leveraging this, we've helped multiple customers build a robust migration strategy. They were avoiding them to make mistakes that I just called out. Some of the 4 mistakes that I called out, but there are many, right? And so that's the cookbook. So we leverage this in order to deliver define strategy for our customers. Yeah. Let me highlight some of key recipes in the cookbook.
Let's hear them.
Yeah, you see the slide there, which talks about some of the features and services that we have on our wide autonomous cloud, right? So the recipes are, you have to create an executive summary, obviously, work with business and CIO teams to build a summary of business drivers, challenges, and major steps. Also understand all the stakeholders that will be involved in the change, because this is a change for most of the enterprise, right? Moving away from your data center onto the cloud is going from A to B. You need to understand, the people who are there, who are going to get involved, create an org structure, create the roles and responsibilities for them, right? That's the first element. The second one is create a business baseline, right? List all the expected outcomes and potential benefits, also potential risks and, compliance requirements. If you're part of a, if you're part of a vertical that is highly regulated, you need to make sure you call them out, right? Now, talking about, risks and compliance requirements, security is also very critical. You need to take your organization security policies, and you have to see how they will be, implemented in this new home, right, in the cloud, right? Could be some of the firewall rules that you have in-house would change. Identity access management that you've been leveraging in-house and products that you've been using could change because cloud provider also provides some of those similar services, right? That's about security. The next thing that we do is also define financial models, right? Pricing, obviously, you would want to know what it's going to cost you when you get into the cloud, and some of the workloads will still remain in the data center. It again depends upon enterprise to enterprise. So you need to understand how those pricing models are going to look like. You won't get a final price as to what it is going to be because you're still defining the strategy, but you'll at least know the models, right? And then you also need to know the chargeback models. How are you going to charge back to your business? A lot of times I see enterprise come back and say, hey, you know what? I don't want to charge back, but I want to show back what they're, incurring as costs, right? So a lot of times, there is a budget and business obviously go beyond the budget. So you need to create the chargeback models. Licenses and contracts with ISVs, how are they going to change when you move to the new home? I think we clearly called it out through our, this recipe on financial model, right? Similarly, assessment strategy, what is going to be assessed, you need to be very clear, and what tools you will be using. I always tell our customers that, hey, you have to pick the right horses to ride and when. And Zensar is the one who actually does that. We help customers pick those horses to ride and when, right? And the next one is supporting elements. You need to have business and technical architecture blueprints, very much required, because every enterprise has their own way of doing things. Obviously, vertical wise it differs. You should identify them during the strategy phase and list them out. Staffing issues is another thing that you're seeing. When you move from point A to point B, you have certain kind of skilled people, but if you want to go there, you need a different skilled people. What are those gaps? Identify those through your strategy. Similarly, aligning the cloud migration strategy with any other strategy that is being delivered or developed and delivered today. And if those efforts are converging with what you're trying to do, you need to certainly make sure you call that out through your cookbook that you built, right? So exit strategy, we've talked about one of the mistakes. Exit strategy at ease is what you need to do, just so that you avoid lock-in with single cloud provider. That drills down to having a multi-cloud strategy. While you pick one cloud provider, public cloud provider, and you have your data center, you build a hybrid cloud, but then you can move the workloads between your data center and the public cloud, the one public cloud that you picked. But I think you need to have more than one public cloud. If at any point of time you decide you wanted to go out of this existing one cloud provider, you need to have all the automation also built in so that you can seamlessly move the clouds, move the workloads between the clouds. You're not yet there, but that's going to be very key, right? And also data ownership. You need to have you have to be the owner of your data. If required, you should be able to move them between your data center and the cloud or another cloud, right? The last one is services strategy. Once you move these workloads onto the cloud, you also have to know how are you going to run them, right? So when you're building the strategy, you should also see how are you going to instrument these workloads so that you can monitor and manage them and operate them, right? So those are some of the elements of the cookbook that we built for most of our enterprise customers. Now, defining strategy is streamlined, but executing this cloud strategy is a daunting task. And if you really want to make it smooth through the strategy definition, through the journey, what you need to do is you need to have some quick wins, right? Identify some quick wins. So that's what I tell my teams. We need to quickly go and win some of these, so that you really create that confidence for our customer, right? Engage with the CIO is what I do, and business teams, to identify those low-hanging fruits that we can quickly migrate onto the cloud. So nothing is going to make you and your customer, as well as teams that are working with you, feel happy and better when you have some wins under your belt, right? Or might be some losses too. Sometimes you do have losses because it's a learning thing, right? So a lot of things could result up why your migration didn't succeed, right? Could be a mistake that you made. Could be you didn't have the right blueprints. It could be you didn't test it properly. It could be anything, right? So through the iterative process, we want our strategy to evolve as we are hypothesizing, testing, validating, and evaluating. This is required. Just look at what happened, right? Last 3 months in the cloud space, the whole business priorities have changed for our customers. One of the options that you've seen through the poll is that most of them are saying we wanted the cloud to be used for work from home, right? That option is more, one of the drivers is to work remote, work from home kind of thing. So what they've built 12 months back as a strategy now is going to change. They're going to be edited. So it's not something that you print and then it is there as a Bible, right? You have to, it goes through those, changes. And there are also certain constraints. One of the constraints that I've seen is people, and the people that are using these applications and workloads that you're migrating onto the cloud, right? They are actually supporting the business. They have to see value of migrating to cloud. A lot of times you don't explain that value properly through your strategy document. So you need their buy-in in the strategy. So what Zensar does is creates those tiger teams that comprises members from the CIO team, members from the business, and also members from your own teams, and also contracting firms, right? To smoothen the whole ride to the cloud journey. Joe.
That's awesome, RP. It really does sound like enterprises not only need to have the right digital transformation strategy aligned to their business objectives, but they also need to be prepared for changing business priorities, like a COVID-19 crisis, which comes out of nowhere, right? And have an experienced partner like Zensar helping them navigate all of those changes and helping them stay focused on those business priorities. It sounds like your team has the right vision to help those customers do that. So with this being said, can you elaborate more on how you can materialize these strategies into action? Maybe share a bit about how Zensar is uniquely positioned to drive actionable results, no matter what stage of their cloud journey our customers might be on?
Yeah. The migration. So this is the analogy that I use, right? Migration to cloud is like when you move homes, right? You have a plan. Yeah, you have to discover. If you have lived in that house for many years, in the closet, you'll find a lot of things that you probably never used. The same thing is with IT industry. Enterprise customers have accumulated a lot of technical debt in last 20, 30 years, could be. When you migrate into cloud, you want to make sure that you're only moving things that are going to be relevant for you going forward and not looking back, right? So this is the best time to clean up. That's what I say. As a first step, you have to do proper app rationalization using automated tools like Zensar's the Vinci framework, which helps you to discover the workloads across all different technologies and make sure you know what exactly business value those applications deliver, and bringing them then what kind of value they're going to deliver going forward, right? My personal belief is you better do that homework upfront, then migrate. Migration can be done in different ways. In one of our customers' case, they only had 6 months before the data center contract was ending. You're running out of time and you wanted to move quickly. We did a lift and shift, right? But if you have enough time, you have the right strategy, then you probably should think about re-engineering, right? The critical applications using some of the reference architectures that you have, microservices reference architectures that you have, and the hyperscale providers, cloud providers are also giving, right? Another customer that we moved recently, unfortunately, couldn't retire enough stuff. So one side of the garage in their home, they had depth of legacy technologies that we could not get rid of, right? Once you know that the migration methodology is clear, build your move groups and re-engineer the application in the cloud. The next step is test the application and its interfaces, cut off to cloud, have the workload still running in the DC, at least for a couple of months, at least for a month, I would say, during the hyper support, to make sure there is a failback option if something goes wrong, right? After a month, declare success. And this is an iterative process. You have to do it, as an iterative process. You can't just do it in one go, right? And also, I think people undermine the planning stages. So I think if you spend more time planning, then there's a higher probability of success. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's totally right, RP. And I love how Zensar is focused on winning the cloud adoption mission with its clients. It's so important that we win together with them. We've also understood details about your frameworks and platforms. I'd like to take a question from the audience, but before we do that, I'd like to ask all of our attendees to please leave us some feedback. You should see a hyperlink on your screen. Please take a moment to leave some feedback so we can improve all of our sessions going forward. So let's get to that question. This one comes from a tool. What are the challenges you've faced while planning and migrating workloads to the cloud? And what's your response to this, RP?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thanks to the audience. So, Joe, I've been in the business for the last 25 years, right? And the biggest challenge, if you ask me, until now, I've not come across a single customer that has accurate inventory of their applications and infrastructure. They don't have a proper CMDB.
Wow.
Okay, so that's one of the challenges that I see. Wow. And there are many, and again, as I say, challenges differ from enterprise to enterprise. What I'm talking right now are some of the common ones that I see, right? The second one, now you run the discovery tool, identify the applications and the dependency maps, take those, get into this workshop, put them in front of them, and show them, and they look at as if these maps are GPS maps from Mars, right? So they don't know why these applications talking to each other, what is the interface, why they're interfacing with the core application. It's all kind of foreign science for them, right? So they just there's a lot of that someone has built it's not there in the organization left, right? So that's one of the another challenge that I see. So we do a lot of work with them to make sure we make them understand what it is. The third one that I've seen is there's a lot of legacy applications like this, like the mainframes, because we work with large enterprises, mainframes and AS400s. Not too many people that are wanting to support the migration to cloud because they have to change the way they are doing things, the technology. So there's a people effect and a challenge that we see. So you need to get their buy-in. There's a lot of tribal knowledge in the teams, not documented, and is required during the migration and validation. I think that is missing. And someone like Zensar, we have been working with similar organizations across the globe. So we have similar experiences and we address that, right? There are many times they have, I've seen this, literally there are binaries, but there is no source code, right? And then Visual Basic, and in a few cases, Power Builder. This is like the same analogy that I use. You're moving to a new home. You hanged your, TV, but you lost your remote, right? How do you now, try to start your TV? You're in middle of one of the seasons, series that you're watching. So that's when you need someone like Zensar who can come build that interface on your mobile phone and then help you, switch on your TV and watch the, kind of the season that you're wanting to see. So I think this is why, that's why we keep telling you need someone like Zensar who have been working on similar customers, right? And experiences that we get are very critical for enterprises through their cloud migration journey. And these are some of the common challenges, but there are many we can talk through in the next sessions that we, when we get into the next sessions. Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. These are great words of wisdom, RP, and we'd love to talk with all of our attendees. We invite you to reach out to us so we can hear about your challenges and see how we might be able to help you on your cloud adoption journey. So RP, we've kind of gotten to the end of our session for today, and we want to be cognizant of everyone's time. You've shared some great lessons today, and I'd like to take a minute just to summarize what you've shared with us, okay? So I've kind of formed these in 4 lessons. Now, lesson number 1, in order to adapt to evolving customer behavior, it's crucial to reimagine and reform digital experience management capabilities. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I really believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Lesson number 2, cloud adoption is a massive enabler of digital success. And especially during this pandemic, cloud has been the savior. Everyone's moving to the cloud. COVID-19 has only accelerated all of these companies' plans and the need to get to the cloud. Zensar can help you do that. Lesson number 3, there's nothing more important than planning. So plan for the unseen challenges because they will arise. COVID-19 is the biggest example, and it's forcing the whole world to change. How are you going to survive and thrive in this new world? Your customers are expecting you to make buying and using your products and services as easy as placing an order on Amazon.com. We can help you, the customer, make ordering your products and services just as easy, if not easier. And then finally, lesson number 4, migrating applications and data to the cloud platforms can be tricky. Therefore, having a trusted partner is crucial. You don't have to do this alone. Zensar has the experience, the tools, and the resources to help you succeed on your digital transformation journey. Please take a minute to share your feedback and follow us on all forms of social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We're offering all attendees a free POC and a free assessment to help you get Zensar working on your journey to the cloud. Please contact us today for an appointment. Please also take a moment to submit your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. RP, On behalf of everyone here at Zensar, I want to thank everyone for your time today. We'll look forward to seeing you all at our next social media session. RP, did you want to have a closing comment?
No, I think yes. So there are multiple sessions as part of DFS Live that we are going to do. Some of them are kind of 30 minutes and 1 hour sessions. Security alone on cloud can be discussed for a day. But so those are the next sessions that are going to come as part of the DFS Live program that we're running. So I would want everyone to come and join us. And thank you so much for being part of this live session.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe out there. Don't touch your face. Wear your mask in public. Be safe. And we'll see you during the next Zensar live session.